The strange thing about being the person everyone depends on is that nobody decides it for you. There isn't a ceremony, there isn't a title. One day you're helping a little more than everyone else, taking on a little more responsibility, making a few more sacrifices. And before you know it, you've become the person everybody calls, the person everybody needs, the person everybody expects, and the person nobody worries about. Because you've spent so much time holding everything together that people stop wondering what happens when you fall apart. They assume you'll figure it out, just like you always do. When a friend is overwhelmed, they call you. When someone needs advice, they call you. When a problem appears, people look in your direction, not because they want to burden you, because they trust you. And for a long time, that trust feels good. It feels good to be needed. It feels good to know people can rely on you. It gives your life a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning, a sense of importance. But there is something nobody tells you about becoming the reliable one. The stronger people believe you are, the less they notice your struggles. The more capable you seem, the less support you're offered. And eventually, you become so busy carrying everyone else that nobody notices what you're carrying yourself. Not even you. Phase 1. The making of the dependable one. You weren't born this way. You were shaped this way. Maybe you grew up in a home where someone had to be the calm one, where someone had to hold things together while everything else was falling apart. And that someone was you. Or maybe you were just good at things early, good at solving problems, good at staying composed, good at showing up. And people noticed, teachers noticed, friends noticed, family noticed. And every time they noticed, they leaned on you a little more. And every time they leaned, you held, because it felt good to be the one who could. In a world that felt uncertain, being needed felt like safety. Being depended on felt like belonging. Being strong felt like love. So you kept going. You kept saying yes. You kept showing up. Not because you had to, but because somewhere along the way, being dependable became the only version of yourself you knew how to be. Phase 2, the phone that never stops. Your phone is never truly silent, even when it's on mute. You feel it. Someone always needs something. A friend needs advice at midnight. A family member needs money they'll never mention repaying. A colleague needs you to cover for them, again. And you pick up, every time. Not because you have nothing better to do, but because you've told yourself a story for so long that you started to believe it. If I don't, nobody else will. And the painful truth is, you're often right. Which is exactly why it never stops. Because the people around you have quietly learned something about you. They've learned that your "I'm busy" doesn't really mean no. They've learned that your exhaustion is temporary, but your willingness is permanent. They don't mean to take advantage. Most of them genuinely love you. But love without awareness is still a weight. And you have been carrying it in silence for a very long time. Phase 3, the invisible struggle. Here is the cruelest part of being the dependable one. You are surrounded by people, and yet you are extremely alone. Not because no one is there, but because no one sees you. They see the version of you that fixes things, the version that answers calls, the version that has solutions, but the version of you that is tired, the version that is scared, the version that lies awake at 3 a.m. wondering if anyone would notice if you simply stopped. That version is invisible because you made it invisible. You learned early that showing weakness made people uncomfortable, that when you cried, people didn't know what to do, that when you said, "I'm struggling," the room got quiet in the wrong way. So you stopped saying it. You got so good at managing your pain privately that people genuinely believe you don't have any. And now you're trapped inside a version of yourself that was built for everyone else's comfort, but not yours. Phase 4, the resentment you won't admit. There is an emotion that lives quietly inside people like you. You don't talk about it. You might not even name it, but it's there. It rises when you watch other people move through life freely, unbothered, making mistakes without consequences, resting without guilt, asking for help without shame, and something stirs in your chest. Not quite anger, not quite sadness, something in between, resentment. And the moment you feel it, you feel guilty for feeling it. Because you tell yourself you chose this. Because you tell yourself these people need you. Because you tell yourself that a good person doesn't resent the people they love. But resentment isn't a sign that you're bad. It's a sign that you've been giving without ever being refilled. It's your soul sending you a message in the only language exhaustion knows. The question isn't whether the resentment is wrong. The question is, what is it trying to tell you? Phase 5, the day you disappear. Imagine for a moment that you stepped away, not forever, just away. You stopped answering. You stopped fixing. You stopped showing up for everyone else. What do you think would happen? Part of you believes everything would collapse, that the people you hold up would crumble without you, that you are, in some very real way, the reason things work. But here is the truth that will both free you and devastate you at the same time. They would be okay. Not immediately, not comfortably, but they would find a way. Because people always do. And when you realize that, something shifts. Because if they can survive without you, then all those years of sacrificing your rest, your dreams, your peace, your needs, were not a necessity. They were a choice you made, often out of love, but also out of fear. Fear that if you weren't useful, you wouldn't be loved. Phase 6, who are you without the weight? So now comes the most important question. Not how do I keep going, but who are you when you're not carrying everyone else? Because underneath the helper, underneath the fixer, underneath the one everyone depends on, there is a person with dreams they quietly buried because there was never time. A person with needs they never voiced because it felt selfish. A person with a version of life they imagined for themselves before they got so busy building everyone else's. That person didn't disappear. They've just been waiting for you to remember that being strong doesn't mean being selfless to the point of self-destruction. Waiting for you to understand that you cannot keep pouring from an empty cup. Waiting for you to finally ask the question you've avoided for years. What do I actually want? The empowering close. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to be someone's priority, not just everyone's solution. The world convinced you that your value lives in your usefulness, that love is something you earn by giving, that rest is something you deserve only after everything is done. But everything is never done, and you have been waiting for a finish line that doesn't exist. So here is what I want you to hear. Not as advice, but as a truth you already know somewhere deep inside. The most important person you could ever learn to show up for is yourself. Not instead of the people you love, but alongside them. Because a version of you that is rested, whole, and at peace is not a burden to the people around you. It is a gift. You have spent your whole life being someone others could lean on. Maybe it's time to become someone you can lean on too. This was your life, as the person everyone depends on. The question now is, what kind of life do you choose next?